Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of the show. Again, a reminder, tomorrow, NFL Draft Day. We'll have our Hot Mic mock draft show. Looking forward to that. We got our sounder ready for the annoying draft. ESPN actually did a story on that. It's actually pretty cool how they made the little sounder noise that everybody now associated with a NFL or the draft. There it is. That everybody knows what it is. It's a cool. You got to check out the story. It's really neat. We'll have that ready for tomorrow. Perfect segue off of what we were just talking about in our last segment on the pending ruling that looks like all NCAA athletes are going to get basically 5 years to play college sports. Our next guest, it falls right in that loophole because she thought her basketball playing days were done at Mayville State, and because of the recent ruling, which allows that you can get one more year because those years don't count, Kenzie Hughes is going to be playing basketball at the University of North Dakota next year, and she joins us here this morning. This is crazy. You and I were just visiting off air. I was talking with your dad about this last week. So give us the backstory on when you found out that this may be a possibility that you could have another year to play.
So I just came back from Christmas break. We actually had like this fundraiser for softball, and Coach Hutter had reached out right before, and kind of just like gave me insight on it, about how there was an extra year of eligibility out there. Kind of just like put the thought out there of like maybe UND next year. That was my first time really like hearing about it, I guess. Yeah, I guess I didn't really give it much thought till the end of like my basketball season at Mayville. Just wanted to be where my feet were. But yeah, and then once basketball was over, I started looking into it more, and it makes me really excited that I get this opportunity.
So you do some research on it, like, okay, well, if there's an opportunity and I can play for my old coach, was it, forgive the pun, was it a slam dunk that you wanted to pursue it?
Yeah, I would say so. I think like the comfortability piece was there. All three of the assistant, well, there's three of the five assistant coaches are Mayville State coaches, like former Mayville State coaches. So I think that that was like a big piece too, is just like having the familiarity with all of them. I didn't have Coach Gaynor as a Mayville coach, but I had Coach Blazik and Coach Hutter, obviously. I love them both. So obviously I missed them this year. Love my coach this year too for Mayville, but there's it makes me excited just to have them for one more year. So
When you're walking off the floor, when you guys don't, and I hate to bring up bad memories, you lose to Jamestown in March. I mean, you're thinking, is that it? Or did you have in the back of your mind that maybe I got another chance to play?
I kind of before that I even heard about like the ruling, I kind of had already like digested the fact that this was my last year, kind of just um like just, like, figured, like, I, like, knew it was gonna be the end, so, like, not that it was, like, easy to be like, "Oh, basketball's over," but I guess, like, once that, Coach Hutter reached out and, talked about this new eligibility rule, it definitely, like it did not that the last loss against Jamestown didn't hurt, because it still was not good because obviously it's the end of my career at Mayville, but, definitely was, like, a little easier knowing that I had the opportunity to play basketball again, so it wasn't quite the end.
The unique thing about you is you're not just basketball because you play numerous sports. I know during high school at Thompson, you're currently playing softball at Mayville State. So basketball's on hold right now. Tell me about that decision to make sure I'm gonna finish this out the right way.
So Coach Hutter, the my previous 3 years, so basketball gets me a majority of the time between the 2 sports. So I'm with basketball for like 6 months of the year and then softball. I guess last year I was only with softball for a month, and that was like the shortest I had ever been with them. But yeah, he's always so big on once I'm in softball that like you need to be where your feet are because he does get me a majority of the time. So he just wants me to focus on softball, and he's been really good about that this year too. Even while being at UND, he's just like, "Be where your feet are, finish out your season, and then once the season's over, we'll get going with things for UND."
Well, last year it was, your team made it to the Sweet 16, so there's a pretty good reason why you were only with softball for a month out of the year. What has that been like then to be repping Mayville State again in softball, knowing that I'm still gonna be playing collegiately next year, that I still have a chance to do this for the Comets?
I've softball is just always like I'm obviously not with them all the time, but Like, I love Mayville, and I love playing for the Comets, and we have great coaches, and it just means so much to continue playing. Mayville's done so much for me the last 4 years. Yeah.
I had Coach Hutter on last week, and he dodged the question, but I'll ask you this. The fact the last 2 years of getting to play UND, you won 2 years ago, you scared the heck out of them last year. How personally gratifying was that for you to have the kind of games you had both of those times?
You know, I feel like every little kid growing up has, like, the dream of playing D1, and then once you do get to collegiate basketball, like, we really had no pressure going into that game because we weren't supposed to win, and so I feel like that just gives us, like, the free range of, like, playing our hearts out, like, obviously, we do every game, but it's just, like, there's no pressure and you can go out and have fun. Um, I think that's, like, the biggest thing is that, like, we always went out and we just had so much fun because we knew that, like, there was nothing, like, on us, like, we weren't supposed to win, and I don't know, that made us play really well.
Do you feel like you might get not necessarily booed, but you might get some weird looks when you're resting out for UND next year after how you've played at the Betty the last couple of years?
Yeah, right? Probably.
We were joking off air. You have a unique relationship with that building, obviously with Thompson's success, and Coach Brent is on the show all the time. That the Region 2 tournament has been there forever. Don't hate me for bringing up the Kindred game. That game with you guys was unbelievable at the state tournament. What has that building meant to you throughout your basketball career?
It's been so much fun ever since I first played there in 8th grade, like, I just think the atmosphere of it is awesome, and, like, I know that I'm very, thankful for living 7 miles away from it because the community that Thompson brought through, like, high school was insane, and it was the exact same for when Mayville went there, like, I had my whole Thompson community behind me. I'm just very thankful for the atmosphere, and it's always been so much fun playing there, and it's like you're, um like, everything's, like, heightened when you play there, and I don't know if that's because of the atmosphere, but just rising to the occasion and having fun, and yeah.
The fact that now you're going to be known as a Division I basketball player, what's that mean to you?
Oh my gosh, that sounds crazy. That's, like, not something I ever thought was gonna be in my books. I'm very thankful. I'm thankful for all my coaches. My parents were always pushing me. Yeah, I'm just very, very thankful for everything. I'm glad that I'm glad that I get this opportunity, and I'm glad that all my hard work is paying off.
The fact you get a chance now, Kenzie, to play South Dakota State, North Dakota State, South Dakota, that's going to happen. Is that set in yet, or is that going to click in whenever softball's done?
You know, actually, when I was watching the NCAA tournament, women's tournament this year, I watched SDSU play UConn, and I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "I do get to play this team next year." I was like, "That was just crazy." I
Yeah.
was like, "They're in our conference, and they played UConn." So it hasn't quite set in that I get to play those teams, but I think it's going to be very fun.
So, have you been getting shots up, or no? It's all softball all the time right now.
No, it sounds so crazy, but this is how I've done it the last 4 years, so I swear I'm not crazy. But, I have not touched a basketball since basketball ended. Um, that's how I've done it the last 4 years. Obviously, it's
Seemed to
continued to work
work.
out.
Yeah, it seemed to
Yeah,
work all right,
yeah.
right?
But yeah, so, like, once I'm in softball, I do not touch a basketball until that season is over.
How much? What do you have left in the softball season?
This weekend is our last conference games, and then the following weekend is our conference tournament, so 2 weeks.
So, how much have you had to explain to people that don't follow college athletics 24/7 that, hey, I still have a year to play? What is that? How are those conversations gone?
Yeah, I've gotten quite a few texts of like, where did this 1 year of eligibility come from? I thought you were done. I was like, yeah. I was like, I tried to explain the rule. I was like, sometimes like I confuse myself about it. But I was like, yes, like there's like this new ruling that gives me an extra year, and then everyone's just like, oh, that's so cool. So it's been easy, but I have gotten a lot of messages about where is this year coming from.
I know your mom and dad have traveled everywhere. Are they signed up for like Tulsa, Denver? I mean, you got Fargo, and Brookings. That's easy, but Kansas
Right.
City, St. Paul. I mean, they've already done the heavy lifting, right, over the last 4
Yeah.
years.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can only imagine. I haven't talked to them about their travel days yet, but I can imagine they'll be everywhere with me again this year, so that makes me really excited.
Last thing before I let you go, just what is the chance to play? Stay close to home, still do this. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, it does mean a lot. I hope that, like, I'm, like, a role model for, like, younger kids, and I just think that, like, being so close to Thompson and, like, I want them to come like, little girls, young girls to come watch me so I can continue being a role model for them, and just, like, knowing that, like, all my hard work has finally paid off. Like, obviously, it paid off coming to Mayville State, but going to the D1 level is, like, a whole new chapter, and I'm just really thankful and excited for it.
I really appreciate the time this morning. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way in softball. And you tell your parents I said hi. We'll see you soon, okay?
Sounds good, thank you.
Kenzie Hughes joining us from Mayville State. She's on her way to play basketball at UND. She'll have one more year coming up next season. And if anybody watched from our state tournament coverage from that, gosh, going to date myself, 6 years ago, that Thompson Kindred basketball game, 2019 Class B state semifinal up at the Betty, was one of the most intense girls basketball games I've ever covered and called. It was fabulous. It was right. That Thompson team thought they had a chance to win the whole thing. They ran into the buzzsaw that is Kindred, who had Abby Ducher on its roster and a few other players that went on to play. Taryn Johnson is playing over across the river at MSU Moorhead. That was a dynamite basketball game. And Kenzie Hughes was right in the middle of that. She was trading punches left and right. It was great. And she's been a dynamite player at Mayville State. She was an All-American this year for the Comets. And now, because of this ruling, gets a chance to play Division I basketball. So you can be cynical and say, well, it's professional sports. And there's also chances now for athletes who never thought they'd be a Division I player. They get a chance to do that. And Kenzie's a prime example of that. We appreciate her time this morning. We'll break. We come back. We got a couple of portal updates on players we were keeping our eyes on, and we'll set you up for a busy Sports Wednesday, the day before the day. Hot Mike will wrap on Oh, we got a trade shot. Yeah. We'll wrap on WDAY Extra right after this.